Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 1 in a series. Game 1 taking place on Ancient Isle. It is going to be Xiaokai versus, I believe it's Ray. Don't remember the last time I actually, let me double check. Yes, it is in fact going to be Ray as things do unfold here on Ancient Isle. You guys probably want to see the action. Let's go ahead and break it down. As we see Ray spawning as the red Night Elf in the bottom right-hand side of Ancient Isle 2. Meanwhile, over here on the top left, we have Xiaokai spawning as the light blue Undead. Now, what are we going to be seeing in this 1v1 matchup? And the game and the pacing is really dictated by the Undead in this particular matchup. How many ghouls are out on the field, Unholy Aura first, whether or not he transitions into gargoyles. Really, the game is in the driver's seat is the Undead player. However, the Night Elf player can respond beautifully and really take a big chunk or a big lead away from his opponent if he doesn't suffer too much damage early on. Now, it is rather difficult to not suffer too much damage because of the way the matchup is and the way the number of ghouls can really throw things for a loop, especially if you see a Night Elf player using this Ancient of War in order to creep as opposed to training up more archers. Now, I do know some Night Elf players have gone for an earlier Hunter's Hall in order to get Huntresses. Those Huntresses very effective against those ghouls as they are fast enough to run away even with the Death Knight if he goes for Unholy Aura first. Now let's take a look at the Undead. Undead opted to go for a later Altar of Darkness, and now you can see that he's just wandering around here, not really doing very much of anything. I believe there was a quick Wisp takeout, and that is pretty much going to be it there, as the Demon Hunter now venturing forth, giving in a little bit of trouble. Death Knight still wandering around the map here, looking to see where his opponent actually is. There's the Demon Hunter now scouted out, and the Demon Hunter may try and take down a unit or two as the Death Knight does come across these units here. All right, Skeletal Minion now making its way back down, and it looks like the Undead's real strategy was hoping to just put a lot of pressure on his opponent. Now, with the number of ghouls that are out on the field, I would have suspected that they would actually be called out into battle already, and that's what you're taking a look at now. But this is a little bit of a delay coming in from Xiaokai for his any sort of creeping or any sort of experience gathering. He does have a couple of, well, he did have a couple of skeletal minions there. However, quick detonation took care of that, most likely giving the Demon Hunter level 2. Level 2 Demon Hunter with Boots of Speed, Staff of Teleportation. Death Knight now going to be wandering in right here. Pick up the Tome of Agility. You do not want to be giving that to your opponent. That is 2 additional damage on your opponent without it taking up an item slot, and an additional 0.6 armor. You never ever want to give that to your opponent if at all possible. Meanwhile, Death Knight now wandering in across over here, going to go ahead and focus down the Null Wardens and the Null Assassins. Now, he is going after more and more of these Tomes of Agility. Wow, already 4 armor on a level 1 Death Knight, and that attack speed is going to be a little bit faster than normal. However, it does not add any sort of extra damage as that Death Knight just now gets to level 2. Unholy Aura now picked up. That is a whole bunch of very low hit point ghouls that you have to be extremely careful with. If those ghouls get within earshot of that Demon Hunter, the Demon Hunter is going to make very short work of them, and that is perhaps the big issue there. If the Death Knight accidentally runs across this Demon Hunter here, it does not look like it's going to happen, but if it did, so many ghouls would have fallen. All right, Skeletal Minions now making a mad rad dash down over here, perhaps to try and take down a couple of Wisps. Meanwhile, Staff of Teleportation, Demon Hunter already back, ready to go, and you can see that there was just not that much time life left. Perhaps the Demon Hunter thought he had to retreat back home. Just not the case, as we are now looking at a graveyard now coming into play and a straight tech to tier 3. All right. This is not your typical ghoul opening. This is not your so often seen gargoyle opening. This is going to be a straight tech to tier 3, and he is playing this game much more like a human would against a human, or an undead would against a human player rather than a night elf. He is not going to be trying to expose the early weaknesses of the night elf base. It would have been easy to just run in with a whole bunch of ghouls and take your chances, but he did not want to put all of his eggs in one basket, perhaps going a little bit more of a control style tactic and trying to get into the late game. Now, there is a panda out onto the field, and there is a lot of ghouls out on the field as well. Those ghouls could end up getting melted rather quickly as the Death Knight picks up a Naga Sea Witch. I am expecting to see a Lich come off of this Altar of Darkness here in just a second, and as soon as that Black Citadel is up and operational. As we take a look off over here, the Death Knight venturing forth, just trying to see what exactly his opponent has. All right, there is an attack. Are we going to see an attack and a Death Coil? Oh, no Death Coil. Just not enough mana there. The Death Knight just walked in and just took down a Wisp, and you really can't let this be happening, especially when you are low on, unable to get a kill there, especially when you are upgrading the Tree of Eternity. If Wisps start to fall, you are not going to have the ability to train up additional Wisp anytime soon, as we are now looking at a Death Knight getting off a Death Coil onto that Demon Hunter before that mana burn goes down. All right, Demon Hunter, Death Knight doing a little bit of a chase. Panda now arrives to the party as well. Staff of Preservation saves the Panda, or teleports him back home much more easily there. Meanwhile, Naga Sea Witch with Boots of Speed just slithering all over the place. And I got to admit, I don't like what Xiaokai is doing. He is not really aggressively creeping out any creep camps. He is not really building up that large of an army. He is just sitting back and hoping that he has enough here. That's what it really feels like, as we don't even have the Lich underway. All right, let's take a look at this. Naga Sea Witch gets, did he get mana burned? It looked like, yeah, he looks like he did get, or she did get mana burned there. But the ghouls and the Crypt Fiend are now on their way out, but they are going to be going up against perhaps dryads and maybe even bears, as we are teching the Tree of Eternity. I believe Adept training should be coming in momentarily. Let's take a look at this. Are we going to be getting an Orb of Corruption? No, not yet. And where is all of the undead gold? Not creeping early on is really, really making a big difference in just the amount of gold that I expect to see from an undead player by the 8-minute 30-second mark. You can see that he is now training up the Obsidian Statue, getting Destroyer form, but without the Lich, there isn't going to be nearly as much damage with that -5 armor. All right, let's take a look back over here. Panda now sitting at level 2, Demon Hunter sitting at level 3, so the heroes overall have a 1 level each advantage over their opponent. Xiaokai is going to have to do a lot of work in order to get back into this game, as he is just afraid to pull the trigger in doing any of the battles, and it's really, really going to come back to haunt him in those upcoming fights, unless he's able to do some extreme tech advantage on those units. But I just don't see that happening yet, as the Lich just now is being trained. Orb of Corruption, going to be the first item to be purchased on that Lich, most likely. That is going to be a little bit delayed here. Ghouls are now out. 0/0 upgrades on those ghouls. Meanwhile, Healing Ward, very useful there, as we see an Abolish Magic go down there. All right, Shade keeping track of all of these units. Are we perhaps going to see... well, nope, the Shade just going to keep track of all of this heal going down right now, as the Demon Hunter does have a Sentry Ward. He is going to go ahead and teleport back home. Death Knight gets to level 3 very easily. Going to pick up another Tome of Agility, already at armor level 5. His agility is extremely high for a Demon Hunter, or a Death Knight at this point. I believe that's +5 or +6 agility over the basic one, and that is going to make that Death Knight that much more difficult to take out, even though it is not going to be absolutely apparent. All right, Death Knight sitting at level, 850 hit points with 5 level armor. Demon Hunter sitting at, 750 hit points with 6.6 armor. We'll see how all of this happens here, as the Demon Hunter now comes into the engagement. There is a Frost Nova onto the units. Demon Hunter may try to do a little bit of mana burns. Ghoul is now getting taken down. Breath of Fire, no Death Coil, as I believe they were just out of mana. All right, Ghoul is now getting taken out as well. There's a Scroll of Town Portal to try and get away very, very quickly. If they can get a bear, that is going to be a big hit right there. A bear, only losing a bear, but that is a 4 supply unit, as a Dryad now arrives to the party. Oh, this could be extremely bad news. Staff of Teleportation coming back the other way. Demon Hunter is going to be right there. Are they going to perhaps fight back the other way? No. The Dryad barely survives, down to 23 hit points with -5 armor, but somehow able to hold it together. Lich out of mana. Naga Sea Witch pretty much out of mana as well, as the Obsidian Statue is now replenishing mana as opposed to hit points. Another Tome of Agility, but the Death Knight decides not to use it, as we are now going to be seeing an engagement here. All right, healing already being used there. The Demon Hunter now being forced to pull back. Obsidian Statue not doing very much of anything. A Breath of Fire now blows over another ghoul, as this is going to be the problem. You're going to take a look here. Demon Hunter just in such a very strong position. Druid of the Claw going to be able to clear out a lot of this. Let's take a look at the supply count. 47 over 60. Now compared to 46 over 50, that early bear was early Druid of the Claw was a big loss right there. Not enough rejuvenation. It's not going to be able to keep up the army as alive. And the fact that he has so much information in terms of scouting because of this shade. He knows when the engagements are going to be happening. As we take a look now, oh, Cold coming in from that Frost Room. There's the engagement. Breath of Fire. Death Coil saves a ghoul, as we are now getting into a Fork Lightning. Naga Sea Witch rather low on mana. Staff of Preservation saves a unit. Ghoul gonna get taken down right there. You can see Druid of the Claw. No, Staff of Preservation saves another unit there. So both the Demon Hunter and the Panda with Staffs of Preservation will be able to do a lot of healing and a lot of, well, experience denial. One more shot. Wow, that Dryad down to 10 hit points. Still able to convert as the Demon Hunter. Is he gonna be able to escape? No, he is not. I believe, no, he did not have a Scroll of Town Portal, and now the Panda may end up falling as well. Death Knight sitting at level 3, Panda sitting at level 3, but just a bad choice in terms of a fight there, as now the Druid of the Claw down to, what, 500 some odd hit points. Oh, another bear looks like it was going to be making their way over. The Frost Rooms could have easily taken down these two bears, and let's see where they're going to be going next. All right, bear number 1, bear number 2, they're going to be rejuvenating each other, as the Naga Sea Witch is going to try and slow things down. Oh, there is a Devour magic there. You can take a look at the Shade. The Shade is causing lots of problems, pathing on a unit you cannot see. Are we going to be looking at that once more? All right, Demon Hunter going after the Druid of the Claw. It looks like it will get taken down, and yes, it does. Another 2 bears lost. And those bears are just falling like flies. Somehow, the Undead, who played a very safe, just very conservative game, able to just bust past his opponent, focus down the right units, and then come out with the victory, making this game look oh so easy, even though he was behind in terms of experience on his heroes for what I thought would be a game-winning decision, but that is not the case. Demon Hunter nowhere to be found, gonna be 2/3 of the way out of that Altar of Elders. Meanwhile, you can see the Frost Room just getting in some easy shots here, as we're looking at what should be the beginning of the end. Once this Altar of Elders goes down, really no more chance for the hero to make an escape back out, and that, I believe, is going to be the game. Even if the Demon Hunter does get resurrected at the tavern, he will have half hit points and no mana. Not being able to shut down the Naga Sea Witch or the Lich at all is going to be a big issue there. There is now a Staff of Teleportation not used. Panda now trying to get away. Scroll of Healing there. Anti-Magic Potion going to be able to absorb a bit of magic there. And they're finally getting taken out. There's a Healing Ward. Devour Magic going to probably be used here in just a moment. And yeah, being able to pick up a Panda and more units from the tavern meant that he had a fair amount of gold. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1 in this series. Please stay tuned for Game number 2.